despite the fact that more than half of Republicans are ready to say bye-bye to Donald Trump, he's still the most popular Republican. And the dynamics of a crowded primary in 2024 would almost certainly benefit him in the same way that he benefited from a crowded field in 2016, but to a significantly greater degree. And we're going to explain why. A crowded GOP field could help Trump in 24, writes Jill Colvin from the Associated Press. As Donald Trump considers another White House run, polls show he's the most popular figure in the Republican Party, but it wasn't always that way. Competing at one point against a dozen rivals in 2016, Trump won only about a third of the vote in key early states. He even lost in Iowa. But he prevailed because those in the party who opposed his brand of divisive politics never coalesced along a single rival. And the same thing could repeat itself as Trump considers a new bid for the presidency as soon as this summer. With a growing list of candidates gearing up to run, even a Trump diminished by 2 impeachments and mounting legal vulnerabilities could hold a commanding position in a fractured multi-candidate primary. And the article goes on to say, interestingly, that anxiety is mounting as there's a growing list of rivals, potential rivals, taking increasingly brazen steps. This includes Mike Pence, Mike Pompeo, Ted Cruz, Tom Cotton, Rick Scott, Tim Scott, Liz Cheney and Larry Hogan are raising profiles. And of course, Ron DeSantis, increasingly seen as Trump's heir apparent. So the scenario with the crowded field is almost certainly good for Trump. If the Republican Party, and I'm not giving them advice, it's an observation. If the Republican Party said, we want to put party over person and defeat Trump at all costs so we can have someone, quote, more normal as our nominee, they should really coalesce around someone early. I don't know that the dynamics of the Republican Party allow that. I don't know that the Republican Party is willing or interested in sort of anointing someone to replace Trump. And so what you could end up with if DeSantis runs, if whoever, if any of these people run, is, okay, Nikki Haley runs and holds 3% for a while and ultimately drops out. That's probably worse for DeSantis and better for Trump. 2 of that might go to Trump, and 1 of her 3 points goes to DeSantis. Trump consolidates support a little bit. Then Ted Cruz polls 4% for a while. It ultimately becomes clear Ted Cruz isn't going to be the nominee. Again, Trump wins by attrition in a similar way to what happened in the 2016 primary. And there's sort of a couple different layers of this. One is when you zoom out, Donald Trump incited an insurrection to try to overturn the actual winner of the 2020 election. He attempted to defraud the electoral vote count with all of these different techniques, asking for 11,000 votes in Georgia, fake electors, all this different stuff. And he still would apparently easily win a primary if it were held today. That says as much or more about the Republican primary voter than it does about Trump. We know plenty about Trump, but it says a lot about the primary voter that after all that, they'd still be willing to vote for him. A plurality would over any other candidate. But the other aspect of this is how committed is the Republican Party to actually removing Trump? Because listen, if at this point, 51% of their voters are already interested in someone other than Trump, not the same someone, but someone other than Trump, the best thing that they could do is try to consolidate support around someone early. If they decided, based on the polling, that DeSantis is their best shot, they should be working towards steering away other people from running and trying to build up Ron DeSantis. At least for now, publicly, they're not doing that. Although tomorrow on the show, I am going to tell you about the fundraising moves of Ron DeSantis, apparently trying to court some of the large Republican mega donors. My guess would be if the large mega donors say to DeSantis, we will support you, we would rather you than Trump, it seems that that could get his campaign off to a fast start. If, on the other hand, they say, if it's Trump, we've got to support Trump because that's still where most of our voters are, or a plurality of our voters, that may dissuade DeSantis from even running. But this is very precarious for the Republican Party because so many Republicans now, particularly because there was no real primary in the Republican side in 2020, who have been saying, I might want to run. It would be interesting to run. I would like to run. This is the open primary, and it's hard to dissuade people from running in an open primary where there is no incumbent. At the same time, it's bad for them and it's good for Trump. So I don't know ultimately what they will do or how they will manage it, but we will, of course, be watching it. And right now, DeSantis is the only guy who maybe has a shot. We'll have more on this on the David Pakman Show Instagram, which you can find at David Pakman Show. Also, oh, by the way, if you want to hear a voicemail so vile and so unhinged that I can't even play it on the podcast, check out my personal Instagram, david.pakman. I uploaded it this morning, and it is, it's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Let's put it that way. The only subscription streaming service dedicated to documentaries is CuriosityStream, one of our sponsors. If you love documentaries like me, you should really check out CuriosityStream. They've got all the newest and best documentary titles, tons of stuff I can't find on Netflix or Hulu. And CuriosityStream is only $125 a month when you use my link below. If you're looking for those new award-winning documentaries, they've got them. If you're looking for the classics from years ago, they have those as well. I just watched a fantastic documentary called Deep Time History, which goes into early, like prehistory. Fascinating. And CuriosityStream has an app for all of your devices, TV, phone, computer. Whether you want to watch a serene nature documentary on the couch or check out a juicy political corruption story, CuriosityStream has you covered. You can get CuriosityStream for $15 a year. That's $1.25 a month. Only when you go to curiositystream.com/Pakman and use the code Pakman. The link is down below.